All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome. This is District 1's sixth meeting of the year, if I counted correctly. Does that sound right?
Sounds about right.
We will start with a prayer. I think Richard Tidwell is going to offer that for us, and then Gary Garrett will lead us in the pledge. Yeah. And thank you.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to go right in. I think we're still with only one city council member, but it's great. We're glad to have you. Do we need to turn the microphone?
We have a microphone, or we have one that
Okay,
you
so
can wear.
we're going to do kind of some question and answers, and maybe I'll run the microphone out around the audience as people have questions so that we can get it on the Zoom. But Patrice, while they're thinking about questions that they might have, do you want to just take a minute and just share a little bit maybe that came out of the tax related meeting or anything else that's kind of top of mind, and then we'll open for some questions.
So to be clear, I'm the citywide counselor, but I do live. So I'm not technically your District 1 counselor. So the tax stuff, we haven't voted yet on it. I had some questions about some stuff actually the county assessor, like the evaluation of homes. I had a bunch of questions on that scale. So I spent a couple hours with the county assessor going to that. I couldn't understand about that, and I found the anomalies causing some of my questions and concerns. I just sat through a meeting with the executive design, and it was really numbers. It was all about inflation and pricing and the whole thing like that, right? It was insane, the pricing on that, especially what we have felt here in Utah, especially Utah County is actually one of the highest in the whole state. But so anyway, I got that whole explained to me and how we do it, and I found him. It was comforting. I understand it better. On a couple of things I was looking at, there were mistakes. I found mistakes, and so they did that. They're correcting those. So I found places where, so to speak, the training wheels are taken off, like the guardrails are taken off, and that's kind of where the holes are, in my opinion. So they're aware of that from my perspective, and something I'm seeing citizens, myself, and so they said they'd work on that and fill those holes. Because once you get rid of the guardrails, it really is like the Wild West as far as what they can do pricing wise. And the guardrails are on the assessments what if they consider that you either you built or that you've done more than 50% improvements on your home. Like if you remodel more than 50% of it, it gets rid of all guardrails. So that was interesting. I'm definitely not going to do the highest tax increase. We'll be waiting for that on the 2nd, I think. Right? 22nd. But I'm looking at the lower rate or nothing. I can figure that out. But yeah, any questions you have for me?
So we'll do questions on the microphone here, and then Rachel, if anybody raises their hand and wants to chime in from Zoom, they'll kind of help us navigate that. Any questions, or board members, any questions?
On the same topic.
I gotta push this button up.
Yeah.
Just take a minute.
And then
On the same topic, I guess.
Oh, so now, okay. Sometimes you have to tap the top of it. Oh, okay.
And bring close. It's a lot of time. You do.
Hello.
Yeah.
What about virtual practice?
That's a really good.
Like 20%.
I did not take, I focused on residential. I got one from all commercial, and that's definitely not my area of expertise, so I focused on residential. His name is Bert, over in the county building, and he was very accessible and was said he'd be happy to meet with me. So I'd highly recommend it. It was very educational. We were right down to that. We talked about the meeting. Do you decide the pricing always just on the given price of homes and then just always go with standard just every time? Or do you truly look at individually each house and correct the ones that are priced too high or ones that are priced too low? You know, it's interesting. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And I think they're doing a good job. I felt a lot better about it after that conversation than what I felt. Because and then even a lot, I took a number of not commercial, I took a number of particular residences questions to him. And looking at it holistically, it all made sense. And I even made I was like, oh, yeah, I see that. So that was interesting, right? Because I came in really hot. And we're now with Bill. Bill, you want to introduce yourself real quick? So Bill is technically the district planner, as I'm sure you know.
Yes, I just had a follow-up question. So, Edgemont Garfield, who's the county assessor, just got elected very recently. So he had mentioned recently, the county commissioners meeting, concerned about him having enough staffing and stuff like that. Do you know if that's been addressed or if he does or doesn't want to still go to the resolution?
That's a good question. The two things we talked about that were holes for him. Number one, he didn't have a guy that was in this meeting with us. He was 15. But he was their numbers guy. And so Bert, 10 years ago, developed the formula that was creating property 18 years ago. But he's like, you know what? It's out of date. And this young, he did a wedding. He's much older, I'm sure, but he's not old. But he did a new formula. I went over that, and he went over the improvements of why that formula was interesting. He did mention, so I didn't know that we are a non-disclosure state. I don't think I know what that means, but it means that you can see, like, even commercial properties or residential, you cannot see the real prices. The MLS totally high. You don't have to put them on, which I didn't know. And you don't have to put them nice. They don't have to put something you can see MLS. So even as a auditor, as a treasurer, and auditing, they don't have access to real numbers. They have to hope the MLS has some real numbers and try and get real numbers and pay for numbers to try and, like, it is interesting. We're actually only one of 6 states that are non-disclosure states. So the also means, like, you know, it'd be such a huge help if number one, we became a disclosure state. Or if, I guess, some non-disclosure states have a program set up that realtors and realtor business is required to put real numbers into that just an auditor and treasurer can access. So they can give real numbers back. So there's crazy one wrong. You give crazy outliers, right? I just had so my neighborhood, we had a homes to a new great couple for very nice. But really you told me that you're paying 2.9. The house around her from 300,000 and I don't think we can do it. I don't know, it's just crazy. So, you know, then talk about that too, about outliers.
You don't have to just talk about that. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
I'll give it some.
So it's funny, let me know that I'm gonna do my meeting. That's, I learned and just on, but it was totally registration.
Any question?
So I guess I have a comment. I don't know if this works, all this stuff, about the inconsistency. And, you know, when you get your tax bill, they say you can appeal this. We did that years ago. And the process was evening. Basically from the city, what we were told, if you don't like it, we can just raise it.
Well, the city doesn't do that.
Well, whoever we talked to, it was a county. It was so unapproachable that we just said, we would never go talk to them again for fear that they're just gonna randomly just raise it. So having this conversation, I appreciate you two doing that and maybe having that further. So
Yes.
more.
I'm glad that's not unique to you. That's funny.
Right, but it's still unique to Utah County that they're not that way.
So right now, it is an online process. This year, it was an online process and it was very painless. So, we'll see what comes of it. But,
So it wasn't online.
yeah, so now it's all online, and they say 70% of people get a change. Which I thought that was high, but it also tells you, wow, that's high, which means a lot of mistakes, right? So both ends on. But like the percentage, like it went over, they explained like the deviations and like, I don't, it was. It'd be great. I can't do justice.
But when they say it's 70% change, doesn't mean they don't tell you what to change by $1 statistic.
I just asked what information they asked you for on the online to.
So they have multiple things, they have like 5 different ways you can out this receipt, right? It can be a little appraisal. So like say you remortgage or something, or you can create an appraisal, which is you can do it compared to comparable comps. So finding houses or neighborhood that sold, you know, the price of or whatever. Another thing was the things that happen, maybe you can flood. Maybe you have a fire, like things they may not know that there's little structural changes that would affect the value of your home. What were the other couple? Can't remember. It was easy though, and I'm not a person. Other things though that were interesting too, so they have these veterans. There's discounts for veterans, there's discount for retired people with certain income. And one thing we talked about was that, and I remember it's state legislature said, these numbers are too low now for the retired and the veterans. The numbers they're asking are just not appropriate with how much inflation you see in our home prices and our commercial, like all our real estate prices. So those really be changed to be utilized effectively on that one, because they're kind of just a joke number that's not, doesn't reflect.
It sounds like that helps people who are especially needing help with paying their property tax. And recently I was wondering how we can make our city tax less regressive. So that when you look at someone's income, if they're lower income, it's not taking a much greater percentage of their income than someone with a lot of income. It seems like something that's regressive really hurts the little guys and the younger people, the older people, the families, the people who are trying to get their footing a lot more. And so I was trying to figure out what can we do about that in the city, because sales tax is a lot more aggressive, property tax less so, but it has this other problem with values, and we don't control income tax. So are there really any taxes, or I don't know if we can, I don't know if we're in, the city's in charge of who gets credits on their property tax. So is there really anything the city can do about it?
My parent, because Katrina indicated foods. Property tax issues are largely county issues. City got a piece involved. Cities, yeah.
16%.
If you want the city's share of property, 15%. Who won't share property? So, they won't. These cities. Council. Obviously, we haven't adjusted inflation in 15 years. And then all of the things that pension. Used for having choice of accepting and rejecting or wanting to reject. That's practice. Always.
On that thought really quick, so we've had, our budget stayed the same for decades, our budget has not changed much. What's changed is how much grant money, and so especially since the current mayor's in place, there's a lot of money for grants. A lot of money for the government.
Very successful.
Like wastewater treatment plants paid for, our aquifer recharging stations were paid for, the airport money. We got a lot of federal money, state money too from Utah State. We just didn't apply for. We've got millions in free money, which really is free, all of that. But somebody's gonna take it, so better Provo City than other places.
So kind of to, my question is more less about, you mentioned that some property tax, and that's what we see every year in treatment taxation. So y'all turn out to hear, why is my tax going up approximately $10 a year? But I noticed that my Provo City power bill went up $20 a month. So I'm paying $20 more in July. And that's the back of the page. It's nothing to do with usage. There's nothing I can do to serve on this. Transportation fee went up, the wastewater went up, just everything that's listed on the back of that bill, right? The cans, everything. So my question would be to you is, are you in charge of those budgets, or is that somebody else's? You can't pass the buck, but is that a city thing? Okay, so who approved those going up? And we never did hear about, I never saw a notice in my bill that it was coming. I didn't hear or see anything. There was no truth in taxation about that one, or I would have turned out.
So it was noticed.
Is it?
Yeah, those.
They're on city council agenda. Every year we have
And the water.
Well, we sat for a lot of presentations on this, And there's a reality that, remember what, like the garbage cans, so we were subsidizing those. They were paying themselves. So that we had to fix those numbers, because it's not, we can't be subsidizing something like that, it can't be, so it's not gonna last long term. The water, we had to do a wastewater plant, we had to do all the new sewer and all this west side and multiple lifts in the city, our sewer system wasn't keeping up growth. The amount of water stuff we had to do is now, John, only the federal government made us do our wastewater stuff, and that was a good choice. So, and there was a history there, there was kind of like this pride, there's kind of this like rivalry between Provo and Warren, where we really no longer raise utilities, like it's kind of like, you know, who stayed the lowest, it's like a badge of honor, which didn't help us in the long run as far as capital improvements, right? With the business, you do commercial, you don't put your capital improvements on the side to get the new ACs, the new roof, you know, world hurt, which is what we were in when the federal government wanted us to replace all these water plants and our other water issues. It's a huge issue. What do we get now? We got rating as third best drinking water in the country, which is awesome. But that would have happened so long ago. We wouldn't have that same. So it has been a lot. But now we're working smarter for the future, where we did have some painful increases. We're hoping now to be more moderate, where we're keeping up with our capital improvements. So we don't have to bond things. We don't have to do you know, certain price increases that are huge to make up that difference. Like, I think it's wise in the long run, but it was painful these last few years to see that, you know, it is a big jump. It is a big well,
I think one of the primary sources. No. Structure. First. People see what I saw. People. Oh, house. So, what's that time? Any other last questions from our group here or additional online?
Not any online right now.
Just one quick update question on the, other building where there was the old building. Is that for, are they building a fire station there or apartment, some retail or? I've heard a couple of things.
So the only thing that's for sure is it will be a fire station. He's going to replace the fire station. So that will be done. That was we already got that back. So that should be done for the council. You know, where we will approve the appropriation funds, which most of our is. And they're still right now, which is going to be, they're not paving it, it's not really expensive asphalt they're paving, but they're using, you know, you pull up old road that has like the old pieces. I guess we're gonna put it all down there and go over the heavy thing to make it base. So it'll be cheap, but more functional as a parking lot. So right now it's enclosure. So they're just parking the streets and trying to figure out which is hard. There's some spots that you just can't have. And then we're gonna be doing the Center Street renovation. So there will be a parking there over periods of time, once through October. I think the end of October or something. So people will park there for that too. But we're just gonna have this parking design. We're gonna have another RFP, got multiple RFPs. I just haven't gotten anything that's often wanted to be for that, which is, we want everything. We want housing. We want something that becomes a destination place for a lot of people having a facilities. Awesome. Retail. I don't know. We haven't seen an idea that we're gonna buy that yet. So we are waiting. Ideally, we do need a parking garage. So a parking garage and a conversation we know will be there. We love the developer to come in and be part of this and have a good idea on something else that we haven't had anything happen on it.
We have. Well, you live for. Might be some kind of issue. Sure.
We want to thank both of you for your time and maybe give a round of applause. We're grateful for your service. And we will continue with our agenda. Aaron's going to come up and talk just for a minute or so about the property that we're going to talk about, and I saw plans. I'm wondering if you two are the gentleman. I've probably been emailing one of you, and we've never met face to face. But we're going to let Aaron just explain real quick why this is coming before this group, so we kind of know what we're looking at. And then we'll ask you to come up for 5 or 7 minutes and kind of give some more detail, and then we'll do some question and answers.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Aaron Ardmore, to planning. So the planning item on your agenda tonight is to be a future zone map amendment application. Background behind that is there's a project plan to do an office building south of the AMC, the Riverwoods. That plan is now set to the north side of the AMC. The problem with that is that property is split between 2 different zones. So in that application, there'll have to be a rezone applied to kind of the north half of the property to make it all under one zone and put it in the area. Tom Bankhead is here, so I'll just go ahead and turn it over to the rest of the time.
Aaron, just to clarify, so really why it's coming is because there's a portion that does not fit in the zone that they want, but the rest of it does. And so to make it a better property and a better use, we need to correct that one.
Right, yeah, the south half of the property here would allow the use of office building. The north half is a specific development zone that was created for that mixed use townhome development there. So that north half would have to be rezoned to the SCW.
And this is that little parking lot currently that's kind of towards the river from the shops at Riverwoods behind the theater.
North of the theater.
All right, so if you guys just want to take 5 or 7 minutes, and then we'll do some question and answer and comment.
Any particular place has to stand?
Just up here somewhere. Maybe introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. My name is Tom Bankhead. I'm helping a developer. I'm also a contractor on a one. Over here, this is Jay Roberts, who works actually for the group who owns the building, which is Monies. I want to correct these. It's about right where the dimension is from the river up there, where it says 52 feet. The zone line is just above that, about 5 feet. So it's about 2/3 of this property is zone commercial, which would accept this type of a building. The northern part is just now obviously a parking lot with some residential. So we actually had an agreement with AMC Theaters. And they're like dealing with federal government at the very last minute because their proposal, they wouldn't sign it. So we didn't have the shared parking needed. So we reduced the size of the building, moved it to the north side of AMC. It's I was going to put up a picture of the building. This is a picture of the building right here. The beautiful building, this is another view of it. It's got somewhere around 43,000 or 44,000 feet of gross area. It's not a real efficient building in terms of office space, has almost 20% of it is common area. So I think there's about 90 spaces on this site, which the Romans are going to use the entire top floor for their personal office, and I think there's only going to be like 8 offices up there. So it's not a densely used building. They are hoping to get some kind of retail on the bottom. That's undetermined. But we just felt like, obviously, rather than making the building smaller or cramming it to the side, it would better be centered versus what change. Any questions I can answer?
This will be easier for people online. That works. There we go. So my first question, looking at this photo, is it appears to be 4 stories.
It's 3 stories.
Okay.
This up to the brick is 1 story.
Okay.
And then there's a second story.
And so along that, do you know what the top height is expected to be And to that, the top height of the other buildings immediately next to it.
I know that the AMC theater, which is on the south, is somewhere around 36 feet tall. It might be 38 to 40, or the very few, they go up and down. It's about 36 feet tall. This building is going to be somewhere around 55 to 60. He does want a terrace up on, just a private terrace up on there. That's why trees may be successful in talking about it. It's going to be. He wants it to be very well landscaped. So it is a little bit taller than the AMC theaters, but it's, it's got a parking lot on each side. I don't feel like it's going to be imposing.
I don't know if they're on the northwest, how much taller than those.
I don't know. That would be the Provo Beach, and it's probably taller than the AMC.
Provo Beach is taller than AMC. To the north, and those are, I don't know exactly.
I would suspect there are 3 stories. I suspect they're anywhere from 35 to 40 people.
And maybe, maybe Aaron knows, so is what you're asking for will just continue so that essentially everything down the river would be the same zone instead of this piece.
My understanding is this little parcel on the north side of this piece is the only piece that's non-residential.
I mean, obviously, they're not changing the houses.
No.
But this would be the same. It would now
It would be the same zones, everything's on the east and south, and then obviously it's the common edge to the north.
And so then Aaron would maybe, and maybe too, is 55 feet allowed in that zone? Is that
I believe we're under the height restriction.
okay? And then as I look at I know we're getting currently, because there's another project north of this that's being considered. And people are very concerned about the opportunity we have to make sure we continue that bike lane or walkway or something, access to the river for the public. That I don't know what that but I see it sort of on there. Is that going to be an investment agreement, or is it?
If I understand your question, this is not an impact. This is the existing bike, walking trail. So the building doesn't impact that in any way, shape, or form. It just stays, it won't even be disturbed during construction.
This sounds fabulous. My question really goes, is that in writing somewhere? Yes. Other than just this locally map?
I don't know, it's not in writing. We'd be happy to put it in writing. People essentially, construction, if we can move ahead, when we built the building, we'll probably say that there was fenced the entire project. So
right, for a month or 2.
5 feet, well, the several months, almost a year. But, probably 5 feet away from the path. So the path will not be disturbed. The only thing that will have to happen is there's a great big, I'm not sure, storm drain that goes through. It may have to be disturbed to realign that.
Right, I would just love to see, and I don't know how the city does that, and I know it has to be done all legally, but if we can get some kind of conservation, we might write into it or the restriction, whatever we do, so that we can maintain that access.
So, because this would be a legislative item, it's going to come for the council for the rezone. If there's those kinds of concerns,
For sure.
that can be a topic of conversation.
That would be great, thank you.
Would that be incorporated in the development agreement or something else?
It could be in terms of proper.
Your building is beautiful. That was fantastic.
Thank you. We go along working together.
And the trail will be, and a beautiful easement. It's permanent. I assume I'm good.
And keeping as many of the large trees near there as you can.
Yeah.
Not large trees.
There will be a few of the trees, the stormwater people want access to the river. There's some of the trees that come out. None that will be seen for sure. Walking.
Okay, we have a question online from Bonnie Morrow. Bonnie, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, my question is, how far is this building going to be between them and the townhomes that are behind it further north? What kind of impact is this building going to have on them?
If I understand that question, the setback from the buildings to the north on these. And the closest point to that north property line to the building is 110 feet. And I believe there's a drive there, so I think the actual units of the condominiums are further north, but I'm not sure what that distance is. But to the property line, it's the closest point of the building is 110 there on the northwest.
They do have some grass area on that side towards the.
Yeah, I'm not sure how close and what's on the other side. I think there is a grass area and drive and some other side.
I'm not going to go without a parking question. So, I don't know, I haven't studied commercial that much, how much is required for, is parking done for business you think is going in, is it done for square feet of?
It's on the use, so there's gonna be an office use and a commercial retail use, and those are two different standards.
And so what they proposed meets whatever is imposed on all?
I haven't reviewed this plan yet. When they were on the south side, they had enough. So we've gone in this.
And there will be a cross easement agreement with the parking over here. We feel like it's a good offsetting. That's primarily an evening parking use, or this is a day. I think there will be enough here without that. But the Lomies on both parcels, and there was going to be a cross easement parking on the south side as well. But AMC actually controls the parking. They just
The exception of the chocolate block event.
this east side of the beaches.
Let me see. Bonnie Morrow, did you have another question?
Yes, I'm wondering about traffic through those townhomes. Is there going to be some type of mitigation so that we don't have business traffic going and disrupting those homes? Is there any kind of plan for that? And what if you have some big event in this building, and where's the overflow traffic going to go? Will they be tempted to park down in the parking for the townhomes?
First of all, there is no access from this parcel into the townhomes other than the existing road where it says River Park Way. I can't imagine why anybody would drive through there to get out. In terms of the parking, the overflow parking would be on the east side of the road, where there is a big parking lot there, which is north of the Provo Beach. That's where the parking would be. But I don't think there would be any reason or I don't think sense for people to be driving through the residential. You know, it would basically be the same traffic pattern that whatever is used now.
And you can't legally park on those townhome streets, so they wouldn't be able to follow the residents that.
Yeah, I don't see that as being.
And is this a paved access west of the theaters to get to that unused parking lot in the theaters too? So
Actually, yeah, so that this access road right here would open up that access to the theaters as well as delivery into other vehicles to that way.
I was just wondering, is it possible to reattempt to deal with AMC? I mean, you're saying that they don't use their parking, but this building could use it, and it sounds like we haven't decided we haven't figured out if there is going to be a commercial space in the bottom. And the terrace is private, right? And then the floor into that is also just one office.
The top floor is private office, the bottom floor would be the retail. In terms of if to address the AMC, we worked on this for almost over a year. year and 4 months. We had several agreements, and the last agreement that we had with AMC was their agreement. And at the very end of the day, they just wouldn't sign it. AMC is not doing well. I don't know how long it'll be there, why. You know, Ronnie's had agreed to give them substantial rent abatement. They just, I don't understand. It makes no business sense. I don't understand why, but they just agreed they would never sign it. He has sold the space that the occupies. Now it's just in the top of it. It's further than it's just to give new space to coach. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I think if you want to have a commercial on the bottom floor, then you have to have a certain number of parking spaces by law. And you're saying you can't try the AMC agreement again because you've already tried it, and at some point you have to decide what you're doing.
I'm not sure. If I
So,
understand.
so it's a parking question.
Yeah, I just
So,
think.
you know, we have to fall within the city requirements. And so we.
Any other questions?
Bonnie, did you have another question or do you just still have your hand up?
Sorry, I didn't know my hand was up, but I don't have another question.
Okay.
Aaron, we have another question here. Aaron, can you just clarify what the process will be after, like what's coming a little bit on this?
Sure, so the next step will be to amend, they have a current project plan application. They have a current project plan application in the system. That makes sense. So they'll revise the application, and they'll also need to bring in with that zone map amendment. So those will both go through staff review. Once staff is happy with those meeting the technical requirements, they'll go to the planning commission, and then they'll go to the city, the rezone will go to the city council for decision. So
And both of those meetings have public comment. If
right, both those
new information comes to light, those are the places to go.
right, and everybody within 500 feet of this property would be notified by mailers. And be sure to watch the website.
Let me ask a question about that then. Have you talked to many of the adjacent, I mean, the Ronies own a lot, but the condos to the north, do you have a sense? I mean, I don't think we have an adequate representation to
I
speak
do
for them.
not have a sense, and that was the reason I came to this meeting. I had numerous conversations with Matthew Wheelwright when we started out. He was the
That's
neighborhood
me.
chair.
I'm still here. I'm still here. But I don't live there. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's really the only interaction I've had with the shooting. When we were on the south side of the MC, we did not hold a neighborhood meeting. Now, obviously, this is more impactful for them and closer, and so I was instructed to go, through this big day. And this is our chance to kind of tell the neighbors what is this.
If you do want direct access and contact with those neighbors, I'd recommend you contact the HOA board, somebody on the HOA board, because they do have regular meetings as well. And maybe you could go, if you're nervous about this process and getting surprising feedback, I'd go directly to them.
Well, and yeah, we were hoping to get some feedback in this meeting, so we're close to having a project plan ready to resubmit. It's essentially very close to the same as what we had before when the building was smaller, so it wasn't like a whole process to get it ready to resubmit. We're close to being able to do that. But we did want to come to the neighborhood. It's kind of the neighborhood.
Yeah, it is. They're invited. You can see, we don't get a huge turnout. How many Zoom members do we have today?
We have 6.
Back to school. School started. It's already.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I have your info. So if other questions, I'll forward anything to you that comes up. Okay. All right, Aaron, one last question for you. Do we need to vote on anything or do anything formal? Or this was informational transaction?
Informational, but it's been tradition on rezones to take just kind of a straw poll to see, who likes it, who doesn't like it, reasons why. That helps inform staff.
So for notes, or are you taking notes?
We both
We both are.
are.
Okay, so if I were to capture, kind of summarize, it seems like height is always kind of a concern. It's still worth noting, and parking is always kind of a concern. I put it was kind of two buckets. I think it is an attractive building. We've heard that from a couple of people.
Discussion of the easement of the.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, the easement of the river, so we've got to make sure we'll pass that along to the city. But let's do a straw poll based on what you see. I know there's not a ton of specific information. We'll just go a yay or nay. For those in favor of supporting the zone change, raise your hand.
Put your hand up high.
I think I count 11. Those who are opposed. We got some not really weighing in. Okay, so I think I've got two proposed. Did I summarize kind of your concerns, height, parking, and the kind of easement area, or you want to add something else to the?
Is there any intention of replacing the lost residential maybe somewhere else in the area or the city in general?
I live really close to there. There's tons of residential and so much more coming. I have no issue with not having more right there, but because we have what, 217 point, I can't remember how many units to the northwest coming. Those of us who live there are feeling like we've got more residential than we can handle. So I'm not concerned about that. But other thoughts on that?
So maybe to that thought, Aaron, can you tell us how large the parcels it's being changed?
I don't have that number on the computer.
But it sounds not very
You
large.
said it was, I don't know.
A third of.
It's about a third of this. It starts right there, about right there, and goes that way.
Do you know how large your project space is?
I would guess it's maybe somewhere around a third to half an acre.
The
So
whole
maybe
project?
you could
No,
get it.
just the portion that's zone residential.
So even now, maybe you could get a duplex,
Right.
maybe. So it's just not a big trade-off that we're talking about. Good question. Okay, thank you. You're welcome to stay for more, or you're welcome to go. Aaron, thank you as always for joining us.
Is anybody online right
Oh.
now?
Nope.
All right, I didn't mean to forget our online friends. All right, let's see, public comments. How are we doing on our schedule? Close.
It's a little behind right.
Public comment, we'll ask you to come up and use, I think we're down to this microphone working, or maybe that one's still working. Is anybody here that wants to make a public comment of any kind, a question or something you want to propose for a future meeting?
Action next year or?
Yes, in a few minutes. Yep, that's still on the agenda. Thank you. Yeah, so we're still going to talk about the neighborhood social, community cleanup, and matching grants. Those are the last three items. We'll do those right after public comment. We find if we say public comment to the very end, people leave and it's not very productive, but so it's kind of in the middle.
Okay, we just cut off.
Yes.
Reasoning behind the pedestrian safety zone that was just put in on Canyon Road. We never heard anything about it being put there, and all of a sudden it's there.
Pedestrian
disappeared and then came back.
safety zone. Yeah.
I need to address that. So last year I initiated because there was some city initiative to take parking off of the road entirely, which, yes. So then that initiated a whole meeting that I invited everybody from the the firehouse to discuss how to deal with any of viable solution given the nature of it being residential and all this. But the issue of speeding and kids crossing over from Timpview and all that came up in that meeting. And so our city engineer was there and we were talking about in that meeting doing something to make it safe. So I think that's where that really got.
So that and other people calling and complaining about the kids, that is the place where the kids cross the line.
I did see some moving it.
And they used it on the phone and that's so on my way here. They used it absolutely work.
Yeah, so there's different levels of.
We're not opposed to it.
Didn't know it was happening.
Since we just live on Penn Road.
Right.
Why did it come and then go? It was installed incorrectly. I spoke with the city engineers about it. It was installed incorrectly, didn't go into detail, so now it's.
That seems to have happened in the walkway in the new park too, right by my house.
So, so to that point though, I did call them for the same reason that you're saying, right? Why didn't we know this was happening? And so we're hoping to change that process a little bit so that there's projects like that come up and not every time they touch our street are they gonna come and tell us about it. But hopefully as there's something that seems like an actual change to the street, I hope that we'll be able to get engineering to come to meetings and tell us, here's what's coming, here's maybe why, and here's maybe how you'll be inconvenienced. That had nothing to do, nothing else. So yeah, that wasn't something else entirely. So, but yeah, so we hope that the process will change a little bit. So we will know about this thing because I agree with you. I got some help. Why is it happening? I'm your chair and I have no idea. So I did call them and find out. We hope the process changes.
And the concrete, there were some that those developers did concrete support it. Inspection of the system. That's expensive. Yeah. It's, yeah.
But it sounds like you got to see when that happens.
The contract goes yeah, like we're not paying.
Hey, any other public? I think we'll move on. Let's see, Sharon, you want to, I know it's in front of the group, but maybe make a little announcement about our social, and feel free to make any announcement or assignments that we still haven't quite settled on.
Okay, well, if you haven't heard, we're trying to plan a Northeast area social. We're so excited about it. September 11th, tell your friends, neighbors, relatives, they're all here, not here. They will be at Riverview Park, which is
300,
it's 3600 north, 300 west.
it's just south,
It's on the
southwest of Shops at River.
it's just on the road and back in the neighborhood. You can't see.
There's a brand new playground.
Playground, come see. Rachel will be there with full neighborhood swag. I hear.
Yes.
So there's that.
Cosmo?
We'll have to discuss
Okay.
that. We understood Cosmo's free. We said, well, anybody who has connections wants to make that happen. We have a very, very tiny budget. So there will be repair clothes. We're working on other entertainment. And if you want to discuss it, I chatted with somebody about a band, but I didn't know what we wanted to budget for that. But he was very willing to negotiate. So, I have heard them play, so I'm really good. We'll have to figure out how though. So this thing, we have several parts of the departments from the city coming. Rachel could probably list which ones.
Right. Right, we have Parks and Rec wants to come. Public Works will be there to talk about an aquifer storage system there at that park. They want to make sure that you guys know what's going to be happening. Fire will be there to talk about the wildland urban interface, the WUI. I'm trying to think, did we ever get a hold of the library? Library van, bookmobile will be there.
Recycling.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know the prices for any. More about what's recyclable and how it should be corrected. We're working on getting prizes, and if anyone wants to make donations, please contact any number.
We'll probably have Spikeball.
Spikeball for sure.
Bringing 9 Square.
9 Square. So just a fun evening, 6:30 to 7:30, September 11th. Bring the family, have your family night there.
That's a Monday.
It is a Monday night. Good. Good. Because I know there's some probability, but we may be. September 11th. Send it out to all your email lists. And then I'll be starting. Board newsletter. Exactly. it's just a chance for us to get to know each other a little bit better. It is a large area, I grant you, but our budget is small, so we're trying to do it once, and maybe we'll expand next year and have more success. So, show us how successful, and how much you want to do this. Is there anything else? Surely, any help, if someone wants to volunteer, we should really have this booth and help people contact anybody on the board of us. I'm hoping to get city council candidates, maybe sweeping ice cream. So we'll see. Or what would you want to do, vendors or just mayor? I don't know. We can discuss that. I don't. I think we'd be in favor of sponsors. Yeah. Sponsor something. If somebody wants to set up, I don't know where they would set up. As far as like food trucks or other things. On the street. But it is back in the neighborhood. Or what? Ride your bike to the lovely path on the Riverwoods.
Thank you.
Office buildings.
Food trucks for all.
All right, let's see, we're gonna hand the microphone to Rachel to talk about some YServe opportunities, some cleanup, gathering cleanup ideas, and then matching grant ideas.
Okay, let's see if this will work. Okay, so we got together with BYU. BYU has a service group called YServe. One of their service committees is community cleanup. They have a brand new student in charge of community cleanup. And he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And I said, well, we can give you tons of ideas. So what I would love is when you're going around your neighborhood or anything in District 1, if you see an area, maybe a hillside where the brush needs to be removed, or maybe some yards that need some help, or some pathways that need help, I would love to get your ideas. We'll make a list, we'll give them to YServe, and then either they can come up with an idea, or better yet, if you guys come up with an idea to get your service hours, we can invite them, get a bunch of BYU students there, and then that way we can get their service hours to go towards your matching grants. And it's just a way to boost our numbers, plus it's helping them do their little committee that they have. So if you have any ideas, let me know, let anyone on the board know, and then we'll pass that information on to YServe's Community Cleanup Committee. And then going to the next subject, which is matching grant ideas. We have, we're on a new fiscal year. And so we're going to need to get going on matching grants. You do have a matching grant in progress right now. I've tried to reach out to the applicant of that matching grant, and I haven't been able to get any feedback on whether that project has been done. I've driven by, I haven't seen any work done, but I don't know if it's because it's already done and they've put the grass all back in. I can't tell, but I can't see that anything's been done, and we can't apply for a new matching grant until the old one has been finished. But we would love to have ideas. So we'd love to open it up if anyone has ideas for matching grants. You want to come up and do the microphone? I know each meeting we have a different sound system, and I apologize. In each meeting it's terrible. And the people on Zoom can never hear. And one of these years we'll get the sound system in this room we're supposed to have.
I'm Hannah Baldwin, and if you've read about Timpview recently, I feel like there's a lot of change going on. Timpview is obviously having a lot of construction in the parking lots, so there's less parking lots, so there's less space for students to park, and a lot of students have started biking to school. It's actually amazing how many bikes are there today. And I think we should keep this momentum going with a lot of construction projects in place, and since people in the community are already thinking about safe paths to get places. Also, Edgemont Elementary is another example. I think we should look at a project where we can get more community support because people are already thinking about it. So I talked to someone who works in traffic at Public Works, Brian Casper, and he was talking about which projects we could do related to traffic. So if we came up with a road or spot a road, an intersection in one of our communities that was a problem spot, but we think, there's a lot of cars going through there shouldn't be that many cars. The people on the cars are really going faster than they ought to be going. There's a few things we can do about that, and he said that would be a pretty good grant idea. And so, for example, if we want to roundabout, but not just that, you can also get a raised crosswalk, or you can put planters in the road so the shape of the road changes, and then, speed limits are good, but it kind of just is up to you whether you follow them and then you see if you get pulled over. However, if we change the road design in some of these places, then naturally people will just drive slower. So I think we could consult with traffic and public works on this about which one they think would be best. Obviously, we need to come up with the best proposal. I've been asking my neighbors, but I think if we agree on this idea, then it would be good to do a poll. Obviously, there's some big problem areas on Canyon, Timpview, other bigger streets, but if it's a bigger street, then we need a lot more consensus. Whereas if it's a smaller street, then it's easier to get everybody to agree. Because if we don't agree, and then they build it, and then people want it taken out, that's a waste of money. And if we didn't feel enthused about road changes, of course, there's also the trails that a lot of people and students use to get Timpview, to just walk around, to go outdoors, and the brush around there could also improve.
Thank you.
And I just got word that the grant project was done. Yay! So we need to get that invoice from the sprinkler guy so we can send that money to him. And then that way you guys can get going on your next one. So come up with some great ideas. Usually the matching grant process is you present your idea at a meeting, you try to, get the neighborhood on your side, see if that's something the neighborhood wants, and then it goes to the board and they vote on whether or not they want that. And I know that you guys had like a process as far as kind of trading off which neighborhood the different matching grants went to and all of that. But it's always good to actually have a few in the pipeline. So then that way, if there's a snag, if something happens and you can't get one done, you have another application ready to go to take its place. We actually had that with one of our other districts. They were all going with one. There was a snag. They luckily had a second application ready to go and they were able to get it done before the June deadline. Okay, are there any other ideas for matching grants or not right now? Okay, but be thinking about it because we are going to, the matching grants have to be done by June 30th. And we had some districts turn in their application June 28th. And there was a lot of scrambling because we have to get the money done before June 30th. So we're making a deadline. I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking it was like April 30th or something like that would be the deadline to get your application in. So then that way we have 2 months or so to get the money to whoever it needs to go and all that. Because as we all know, the matching grants always take longer than we think.
Great. Thank you. And thank you, Rachel, for all the other stuff you do. Rachel does a ton behind the scenes. So thank you. That's our agenda. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 28th. Same place, same time. So join us for that if you'd like, or if you have other suggestions, feel free to talk to a board member or Rachel. We can get those on the agenda for next time. Board members, any last thoughts?
I'll see you on the 11th at the party.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, September 11th, and then here September 28th.
Yeah, well, we're
Okay.
discussing that right now.
We're adjourned. Thank you for coming.